Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Midday Live. My name is Wendy Lai. Coming up this afternoon, authorities of KNUST to change all mill halls into mixed residential facilities. Agric Minister's 745,000 jobs comes under scrutiny as industry players challenge the figures. The Ghana Railway Development Authority starts implementing plans for demolition of railway quarters in Accra. And on the firing front, China urges U.S. to drop its Cold War mentality after Washington said it planned to diversify its nuclear armory with smaller bombs. We have details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. This is Midday Live. Let's start with our stories now. When the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has made plans to convert the mill halls, Katanga and Unity, into a mixed hall. And the decision has been met with much hostility from both residents and alumni of the Katanga and Unity halls. The university's public relations officer, Kwame Yeboah Jr., defended the school's decision, indicating by explaining that this is in a bid to increase the female population of the school, which is currently about 31% of the school. Many of the hall's alumni, however, disagree with the university's decision and find fault with the reasons given by the move. And joining me via phone this afternoon is Kwame Yeboah. He is the PRO of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, what exactly is this policy about?
Well, the policy is about making the University Hall and Unity Halls mixed halls, just like the other mill halls that we have in the university.
And what's the specific reason for that?
Well, the reason, as I've told other stations, is that we have an increasing number of females attending our institution, and there is a need to find places for them. It may interest viewers and listeners to know that the Independence Hall, which is the first hall to be built, Republic Hall, Queen Elizabeth Hall, were all male halls in times past. And with the increasing number of female population, there was a need to make these halls mixed ones. And we also have the situation where the Vice Chancellor has a policy since he assumed office by increasing the female population in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So putting these together, there is a need to have the two halls also accept some of the increasing number of our females.
To what extent have you had stakeholder consultation on this very matter?
Well, stakeholder consultation has taken place. The student body has met, the university management, and discussions had gone on. So it isn't an unilateral decision taken by the university management.
I didn't hear that, please.
I'm saying consultations had gone on between the management of the university and the student front. So it isn't a unilateral decision that is coming from the university.
Now, I'm asking because there are some agitations from the students' body that they aren't satisfied with the arguments being given by your institution.
Well, if they aren't happy with it, I think there are channels to do that. I have also heard about it. Individuals have been saying things that I would say show that they are not happy with the decision. But, well, there's still room for discussions. And as I said, discussions have gone on, and the university hasn't closed its doors to further discussions.
Now, as we go on, one thing, some concerns that have come up is that these halls, can they accommodate females? And if indeed that should happen, what will be done? And are you going to accommodate just for these halls? What's the population going to be like, the male and female ratio in there?
Well, the Independence Hall, for instance, I must say has more population than males as we speak. It has been the plans to make parts of the halls females in order to accommodate some of them. In times past, the male population has been higher. So what possibly needs to be done would be to reduce the number of the male students a bit. And that is also to ensure that our females, the female population, I failed to add earlier, that they are vulnerable to attacks. Last academic year, we couldn't accommodate all of them. So some first years had to find accommodation outside the university. And we've had situations where some of them have been harassed, abused, and all that. So the idea is to have more females inside the university so that we stem these attacks on our females. So the number that we plan to put the details haven't yet been put out there. But as happened to the other three halls that I mentioned, Independence Hall, Queen's Hall, and Republic Hall, part of it will be given to the female population. And as time goes on, we'll know exactly what to do.
Now, has this also got to do with this change? Has it also got to do with the level of indiscipline in these male halls?
I wouldn't say so. I have heard it. But what I would say is, if the mix is going to curtail that, then better for everybody. That is not what the university is saying. But if what they are saying is true, and it would happen, then if the females are added to the two halls, and it will curtail that, it will reduce that, better for everybody.
And this was never considered because the university hasn't been happy with the behavior of some of these students, that's the male students in these male halls.
I must say the university hasn't been happy, but it wasn't the main reason for doing this.
But that is a factor.
Pardon me?
But that is a factor.
It could be a factor. But
I'm asking because you represent the school. If you say it could be, is that to say that you're not certain of what exactly you're telling me?
What I'm saying is the main reason for doing that is to make room for more females. That is of essence to the institution. But what others are saying that is the main reason for mixing. You see, this policy isn't new. It has been on the drawing table for quite some time now, and the time to implement it is now. I mean, to have more females, and one way to go is to make those two halls a mixed one.
Now, you've tried to give a justification, but is that going to affect the male population intake? And then when exactly are you starting?
It won't affect the male population. What is being done is to increase the female population. So it won't affect the male population.
And you're confident that if that happens, the rooms there will be available for all students to benefit from having access to education in the university?
Not everybody is accommodated because we don't have rooms for everybody. So as we speak now, many of our students stay at communities surrounding the university. So the university cannot afford to accommodate everybody. But those that will be able to accommodate, those are the ones that would be sharing with their male counterparts in the five halls, I must say.
When is it starting?
It's very likely the next academic year it will be rolled out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to the PRO of the KNUST in the person of Kwame Yeboah, and he was giving us his take on matters arising on that campus. But we'll be following the story closely to bring you some more updates on it. You're still watching Media Live, and government has raised 1.2 billion Ghana cedis as revenue from the Planting for Food and Jobs program after investing 400 million Ghana cedis into it. The program, which commenced in 2017, has also created 745,000 jobs within the 3 northern regions of Ghana. The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, made the observation at a news conference here in Accra.
The Minister of Agriculture pumped in 400 million cedis to roll out the Planting for Food and Jobs program in 2017. The program also targeted the creation of 750,000 jobs at its pilot stage. A year on, the program has generated 1.2 billion Ghana cedis as revenue out of its initial target of raising 1.3 billion Ghana cedis.
The produce that were generated, the 485,000 metric tons of maize and the 179,000 tons of rice and the others, if you apply the producer price that they are getting now, you put it all together, we're able to generate in the rural areas 1.2 billion Ghana cedis.
Part of the figure was also used to purchase and supply fertilizer to the tune of 162,000 metric tons to farmers. Under the program, 357,000 hectares of land were used, which created 27,000 jobs. The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, was elated about the progress made so far.
134,000 metric tons of fertilizer were applied in 2016. In the last year of the previous regime, that we came and jacked this figure up to nearly 300,000 metric tons. That's 296. So we added 162,000 metric tons more.
The program also recruited 3,000 extension officers and is expected to increase to 500,000 this year. The Planting for Food and Jobs, which focused on the production of maize, rice, soya beans and sorghum, produced more than 485,000 crops. The sector minister again spoke about plans to address issues of post-harvest losses.
This year, we are starting with 50 warehouse construction by the Ministry of Special Initiatives. And we in the ministry are also constructing another 30. So we have 80,000 tons, addition to the 32. Next year in the budget, we will make provision, and gradually we will come up to the 200,000 so that we can effectively market our crop.
And the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAWU, has challenged government's claim it has created 745,000 jobs under its flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs. General Secretary of GAWU, Edward Kairé, who has debunked government's assertion, wants the Ghana Statistical Service to immediately release its figures for verification.
This week, government announced that in 2017, it created some 745,000 jobs from its flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. The Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, who touted this achievement, said the 745,000 jobs included 200,000 farmers who are already engaged in the sector.
Extension services, farmer registration, all these people going around registering farmers for the program, and then the extension services that were engaged, the additional hiring of extension officers and so on. That is formal, because then that's the Ministry of Agriculture employing these and paying them to extend, to provide extension services.
But the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAWU, is disputing the figures. General Secretary of GAWU, Edward Kairé, says the government must prove its figures.
The 755,000 jobs, we need to know where are those jobs. Jobs are tangibles. Jobs are things you can verify. And in any case, it is even in the interest of government and the ministry to show to Ghanaians where those jobs are.
The figures, according to government, were based on the number of additional inputs as well as improved seeds and fertilizers supplied to participating farmers in 2017. GAWU has complained it was not involved in the planning or implementation of the program, Hence, it cannot independently verify these figures.
I would have expected that at the initial stages, institutions like GAWU would have been neck deep in its planning and then policy planning and then implementation. And we have raised issues about the way policies are designed and implemented in this country over the years, because it's like it's the reserve of some particular institutions to make policies and then to implement, and all of us should fold our hands and wait until what they tell us. That should not be. It's a democracy. If we want results, we need to be inclusive. And sometimes the policymakers will tell you that they've done consultations. But you also have to ask the question, who have you consulted?
In January this year, when President Akufo-Addo met journalists in Accra, he said government will provide accurate details on the unemployment figures in the country within the next 3 months.
And we're still staying on the story. Charles Ingambra is the Programs Officer for the Peasant Farmers Association, and he joins me via phone. Good afternoon, Charles, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Now, government, through its Minister of Agriculture, is mentioning that they have created 745,000 jobs through the Planting for Food and Jobs program. What do you make of this?
Thank you once again. 755,000 jobs created under the Planting for Food and Jobs. If you allow me to just establish what I know about the program. Now, I would first of all like to commend the government. For the past 10 years, I think this is the only year that fertilizer prices have been brought down more than 50%. That allow farmers who are not able to purchase to now be able to increase their fertilizer application. It has also made it possible for some farmers who could not use improved seeds to have seeds at a subsidized cost to be able to use improved seeds. So these are a clear fact. In terms of increased budgetary allocation to the agriculture sector, if you look at the amount of money that went into fertilizer, seed, and then recruiting of a national service under the youth employment, all that add up to increase budget allocation to the sector, which is far more than the previous years that we had. These are facts that nobody can dispute. But if you go further, to now do cost-benefit analysis, one is interested in knowing what is the results of all these investments that are added. Because from interaction with our members, who are smallholder farmers and primary beneficiaries of this program, there is no evidence that I have come across that farmers have been able to increase the number of people they engage in their farms, or new farmers, because of the Planting for Food and Jobs, are now coming in to produce. I haven't come across such data. So for the minister to say that they've added 755,000 jobs is something that I cannot verify for now.
Now, so if I can cut you there, you are an institution that works with peasant farmers. Is interaction just enough to attest that indeed this has happened or not? Or you're finding ways of researching to indeed identify that if the number is true or not?
Yeah, we are doing our own monitoring. In September, we've done the monitoring of the Planting for Food and Jobs. And we came out with the success areas and then the challenges in the whole program. And that information was made available to the ministry. Now, for the first year, for one to conclude that these are the number of jobs that are created, I think it will be difficult to explain that. But we are also compiling our own data, and very soon we will make that available.
How soon will that be? Because it's like the minister has come up with the figures, and yet yourself or GAWU still don't have any statistics to back your very own research.
No, if you're talking of research, the minister have not done any research before coming out with those figures. I'm talking
in relation to the figures and the numbers that you have, because you mentioned that you have done interaction, or you've had some bit of interaction with your farmers. That's why I asked that, is that enough?
That is not enough. That's why I'm saying if you talk of research, you want to establish evidence. You don't speculate. You need to actually give your listeners the methodology, the criteria you use to come out with such information. And we don't want to do a study work that somebody will question you and you are not able to defend yourself. From what the minister has put up, if you talk to anybody who is into research, anybody who is into monitoring and evaluation, will have difficulty in ascertaining those facts. Because if you say that there is increase in fertilizer supply, you are concluding that those fertilizer companies have automatically engaged new people to increase their supply. That's not true. If you look at the ministry itself, they are not engaging people outside to come and distribute the seeds and the fertilizer. These are Ministry of Food Agriculture workers in the district who were already recruited on the local government service. And they are doing that as their normal duty. It's not because of the planting for food and jobs. So you cannot add up all that and conclude that you have created 755,000 jobs. But what I want all of us to understand is that the minister couldn't have said anything apart from that. That is politics. That's why you have to say, because this is why he promised Ghanaians. So he cannot go out and say that I promised you I couldn't do that. But it's clear from anybody, any ordinary person who have no knowledge in research, that you cannot just sit somewhere and then conclude that because you have increased investment in fertilizer and seed, you have automatically created jobs. With that, I think people will really have a difficulty accepting that.
Now, one of the other concerns that came up, especially with GAWA, is that they indicated they were not involved in the implementation of the program, planning and implementation of the Planting for Food and Jobs. Did you come across that as well?
No, we have made this point clear at the beginning. And I must say that after we made the point clear that they needed to have involved stakeholders, do wider consultation, I think they admitted, and in going forward, there were a few occasions people like us were consulted on what to go. But I think that is not enough. For instance, when we were doing presenting our monitoring reports, we brought farmers from all the districts in Ghana, across some representatives from all the districts in Ghana. And one issue that keeps coming up is that they were there and a particular type of fertilizer and a particular type of seed was given to them, which they don't like. And those inputs were no good for them. So they didn't take it. There was a farmer who told us in Begro that, oh, come, I can take you to my farm. The inputs they gave me are still lying there. I didn't use them. So we thought that if you want to actually get communities or beneficial community welcoming a project, and for that project to sustain, the first thing in the project design is to involve them. If you involve them, they make their input, and then you know the kind of services that you are providing to them. But if you just base on reviewing data and then sit in your office and conclude that these are the products that the beneficiary want, and then you impose it on them, at the end of the day, you might not get the acceptability that you are looking for. So I think that in going forward, they themselves will have learned lessons, because when you go to most of the district offices of a MOFA in the district level, the storerooms are still packed with fertilizer and seeds that farmer didn't come out to take. I went to many districts, and they're telling me that, look, Charles, tell your people, last year, majority of them didn't take the fertilizer and the seeds that we
Thank you so much for your time, Charles Inyaba, and he is the Programs Officer, Peasant Farmers Association. You're still watching Midday Live. To some other stories, and the wife of the head teacher involved in a sex video with the senior high school students, which has gone viral, has appealed to the public to stop sharing the video. Dinah Kofi is worried about the future of her children, who she says are already going through a lot of psychological trauma.
The sex video, which has trended on social media for weeks, involved a head teacher and a final year student of the Odobin Senior High School. Wife of the head teacher, Dinah Kofi, complains her children have been affected by the situation. Dinah wants the public to stop sharing the video.
Radio phone TV phone omu kan sem bebrebe no. Omu ntwa so na eba ne sa omu gun e man ho fi. Bebi owo biara no. The
radio and television stations must put an end to discussions on the matter. I am encouraging my husband wherever he is that I still love him, so he should come back home.
The Asikuma Odobin Brakwa District Education Director, Isaac Akwahin, who spoke off camera, said his outfit is awaiting the final report of the investigative committee investigating the matter. He said the student is under strict supervision with a psychologist to keep her free from mental disturbances as she prepares for exams in 3 months. Meanwhile, the founder of Pennyman Foundation, Eric Kwesi Taylor, a native of Ofasikuma, has offered to take full care of the victim's education until she is gainfully employed.
My interest has aroused that I want to find a way to support the psychological development of the victim, that is the girl, to say, so that at the end of the day, it will not affect her in her studies and also in the future development of the girl.
The Kpeshi Divisional Police Commander ACP Felix Ofosu-Agyeman has called on residents of Lejo-Kukukoro municipality to support the police in combating crime. ACP Felix Ofosu-Agyeman further cautioned the inhabitants not to take the law into their own hands but hand over suspected criminals to the police.
The Kpeshi Division is one of the critical and strategic divisions within the operational areas of the Ghana Police Service. The newly appointed Kpeshi Divisional Police Commander, ACP Felix Ofosu-Agyeman, observed crime combat the world over has become a shared responsibility and proposed the reinformation of watchdog groups in various communities.
With this education, it will help them to stay away from being victimized by the miscreants, by the armed robbers. It will also help them to identify wrongdoing and inform police.
He disclosed the crime wave in the area had reduced compared to previous years, but urged personnel to step up their operations.
We have strong day and night patrol teams, and we have several measures put in place to help reduce crime within Teshinungwa communities.
However, from that story, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has cautioned agencies which have been weaned of government subvention not to increase their salaries by 100%. According to the Commission, any abnormal increase will distort the public sector pay structure and trigger discontent among other government agencies.
The Commission has already weaned off 6 out of the 13 agencies of government subvention. These agencies are the DVLA, NPRA, EPA, Data Protection Agency, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Gaming Commission. They are expected to raise their own revenue to improve their balance sheets to keep the management of institutions running. Before agencies are weaned off, the Commission says management of those agencies present a proposal. The proposal is properly interrogated by a committee made up of organized labor, civil society groups, and the Ministry of Finance. After a thorough investigations of their balance sheet for a 3-year period, the committee also considers the agency's future potentials for growth. But the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission said it has gathered some agencies have indicated willingness to increase their salaries abnormally. The Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Edward Kwapong, has warned those agencies against that.
We didn't let them go way above that. 100% in 1 year, and then another year they will come back if they have conditions of service or collective agreement to renegotiate wage opener. Then they will be going on and on and on. They will be leaving the rest of us, and that will not be good for salary administration in the country.
He explained agencies which have been weaned would not be totally off government subvention.
In one particular instance, they expected to pay back 35% of their total revenue to government. In another case, I think 60%. So it depends on the volumes and what government thinks they can survive on, having creamed off a portion into the consolidated fund.
Dr. Kwapon said winning them of government subvention is to control the wage bill.
We are told that over 50–60% of the total revenue goes into payment of public servants. And so then we are left with very little for national development and for payment of statutory debts. And therefore, if you have a means of ensuring that you will make some institutions, public sector institutions, more efficient and more productive and more profitable, why not? Then, government is released of that burden of paying so many people.
Now to education, the Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yankah, has urged technical universities to devise plans to develop the specialities they are known and highly recognized for. He says they must assist from duplications of study programs they offer to make them unique and also help in producing quality for the country's human resource.
In 2016, The government of Ghana and Germany entered into an agreement to exchange academic knowledge and services. The 4-year project agreement has a 200,000 euros budgetary allocation for building the capacity of the Cape Coast and Kumasi Technical Universities and some other 4 universities of applied sciences in Germany. Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, said government is putting in measures to have free technical and vocational education system that will improve the human capital and innovations for job creations.
The strategy has been to expand technical and vocational opportunities at both secondary and tertiary levels. Already, 6 out of 10 polytechnics in the country have been converted to technical universities.
Officials from the German universities of applied sciences pledged their readiness to start the project and asked technical universities to engage in more research, which will be key to the project. The Cape Coast Technical University is expected to construct and operate an eco guest house on its campus, whilst the Kumasi Technical University will put up a greenhouse.
And still on education, the key GET Fund projects in Nkranza municipality in the Bonafo region have been abandoned for several months, affecting academic work in affected schools. Some of the projects, which commenced in 2014, are at varying levels below completion due to non-payment of contract fees. Here's a report by Johnson Tichi.
Bredi number 2 Basic Primary School is one of the most affected schools, resulting in delays in the completion of the GET Fund classrooms. Kindergarten pupils, as a result, study under trees.
G, F, J, H.
Construction of the school started in 2002 and has not been completed till date. The situation is no different in the Kwabere Senior High School. 4 key GET Fund projects, which started in the school between 2014 and 2016, are yet to be completed. Some portion of the girls' dormitory have been turned into an ICT center. The boys' dormitory are now being used as classrooms, and the head teacher's bungalow is also serving as offices. The headmaster of the Kwabere Senior High School is Frimpong Nicholas.
This is a multi-purpose downhill complex. We need it badly, and yet the people are not coming. If we had roofed it, we could have at least improvised to do a lot of things, and yet the roofing, we have been calling, we have written series of letters, we have gone to Accra.
The district chief executive of Nkranza Municipal Assembly, Dina Atakusiwa, assured of completion of the stalled project.
What I will do is, I will ensure that they've done a good work there. Other than that, when their certificates are ready, I will make sure that I'm not going to sign it until they do the proper work.
You're still watching Media Live. We have more coming up shortly. Do stay. Thanks for staying. The Ghana Railway Authority, that's a Ghana Railway Authority Development, has started implementing its plans to demolish railway quarters known around the CMB area. Now, traders who are taking over the land cooperated with the exercise, but lamented the notice for evacuation was short.
The Ghana Railway Company Limited is reclaiming its land, which was taken over by traders some years back. Somewhere last year, that was in 2017, the Railway Company Limited served notice to these traders to vacate this area because they were coming for the land. Since 5 a.m. today, the demolition exercise has been ongoing, and for these traders, they agree that yes, they are not supposed to be here, but then they feel that the notice that was given to them wasn't enough to get themselves prepared before vacating this area.
Nti efese nipa ne ba beba no obeka chose samasi Tam we me here me da me tam aso se me ba be ye medwuma. No ama ye mre. Na sa tam no so wa hwehwe bebi a wo do nyama be ye den. E do koto ho. Na wa sese asunja ba ne de obetimi abubuo. Sese a wan ka nkyere preko pe me ba be je me dan a. Wo de be fine. Abesu no omunya de abesi anim preko. Ene ye tam ni na tam no so a.
We thought the case was in court, so the demolition wasn't going to come on today. They took us by surprise. The exercise is to pave way for the private commercial development of the area. Officials for the Ghana Railway Company Limited were unwilling to comment on the issue.
And that's all for business. We'll bring you more on this story in a subsequent bulletins. Next, we have sports with Thierry. You're still watching Midday Live. Let's do some more stories. We'll focus on education. The lack of teachers and infrastructure at the Gidikpo RC Primary School in the Central Town District of the Volta region is affecting academic work. Kindergarten pupils are compelled to bring their own seats from home for studies.
Gidikwe, a suburb of Mafi Kumasi, is a farming community with a population of about 5,000. Development in this part of the Central Town District is poor as residents have no access to any form of improved social amenities. Quality education is a challenge. The Gidikwe DA Basic School is the only school serving the community and other adjoining villages. However, the school lacks teaching staff. The whole school has only 5 teachers who work on rotational basis to ensure each class receives some tuition.
Do we like to dance? Yes. So what kind of dance do you want? Or what kind of dance do you perform in Gidikwe Primary School?
Supply of textbooks has not been regular, making academic exercise difficult. Upper Primary 5 has a total enrollment of 28 but has only 5 English textbooks, forcing more than 5 pupils to share a textbook.
If you come, you will not see any quality textbooks. You will see that the kids are, let's say, classes, they are about 18, but if you come to the class, you see about 5 textbooks. So sometimes when the teacher is teaching, instead of them to give them homework in that books, they will not even get enough textbook to send it to the house.
Structure accommodating these pupils are also in poor condition. The school building, when watched from afar, appears to be nice, but within them are deep cracks that endanger the lives of both teachers and pupils. The Parent-Teacher Association provided this shed to accommodate the kindergarten pupils, but even here, inadequate teaching staff has compelled teachers to merge KG 1 and 2.
Teachers too are not enough for the school. Right now the classes teacher is supposed to be in classes, but I move him to KG to go and teach. Sometimes when you come early, you have to teach your class, then the next lesson you move to the other classes.
Show me your head, oh. This is my head, oh. Show me your eyes, oh. This is my eyes, oh.
The KG pupils bring their chairs from home to school daily owing to inadequate chairs and tables. The District Chief Executive for Central Tongue, Thomas Moore Zonria, said the Assembly has plans to solve the challenges.
Based on our appeal to the Regional Director, they have sent more than 60 teachers to us. It has actually reduced the deficit, but still we have to do more than they have done for us. So we are recruiting our own people teachers now from the district. Few have applied already. We will be interviewing them, and the next academic year we'll be posting some people teachers.
Some parents are unable to provide the educational needs of their wards, and so some children come to the school barefooted. But education is not the only problem facing the Gidikwe community. Access to health care is a challenge. Construction of a clinic has stalled for more than 3 years. We were told it was started, by the former Member of Parliament for the Central Tongue constituency, Joe Gidisu, with the MP's Common Fund. The facility, which comprises of an OPD, consulting rooms, maternity ward, among others, is now deteriorating as all the door frames fixed have rotten. The area unit committee chairman said efforts to get authorities to expedite its completion has yielded no results.
As this facility is not okay, when problem occurs, we attend hospital at Mafik Masi. There is no vehicle in the community over here. So during those times, we use a motorbike to send the patients to that place, as well as the pregnant women.
The district chief executive explains the reason for the delay.
The way we saw it, the estimate we did initially cannot solve the problem as it is now. Because initially we thought we could just go and complete it. But having seen or realized these defects, it will not be good for us to actually ignore the structural defect and go and put up the superstructure roof. No.
Goals 3 and 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development pushes for inclusive education and health for all by 2030. For the people of Gidikwe to achieve these goals, stakeholders would need to commit more resources into providing basic amenities like good schools, complemented by better infrastructure.
You're still watching Midday Live. We'll be back with some more. Next, we have international news now.
The bodies of at least 20 people have been pulled from the sea off the coast of Melilla, a small Spanish territory bordering Morocco. Moroccan rescue services recovered the corpses after the crew of a passenger ship spotted them in the water. The dead are believed to be migrants from sub-Saharan Africa. It is thought they may have been hoping to reach Europe by trying to land in Melilla, despite storm warnings being issued from the region. Melilla, which is just 12 kilometers, is a major crossing point for migrants seeking work or asylum in Europe. Together with the second Spanish enclave, Ceuta, it is the EU's only land border with Africa.
Next, we have entertainment.
Entertainment news is brought to you by...
And King of Akologo music, King Aisoba, treated thousands of music and culture from northern Ghana as he hosted the 5th edition of his annual Batakari Nights. The night of entertainment also saw performances from acclaimed musicians including Atongo Sala, Waila and Kwalkesi. Here are excerpts of the show.
That is why we'll be drinking all the beer. The song, and he thought the song suit my style, my voice, so he asked me to sing the song. So today we just met, and the song is also on the new album coming. It's called Wiyala Wiyala, When the Lord Get Us Ready. So Atongo wrote the song, and I just sang it. So today we decided to do it together.
Campus ist schon kaltgestellt, Blättchen rollen wie von selbst. Wirst dann verglühen, nicht mal die Atmosphäre bremst. Ich geb Vollgas, Modus passt perfekt. Weil dann bin ich super drauf, was kostet die Band?
And on that King Aisoba note, we end the bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us here on Midday Live. My name is Wendy Lai. Do have a lovely afternoon and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.